What if the first salvo of the Cold War wasn't fought with bullets, but with ghosts? What if a wave of unknown projectiles, seen by thousands, was the opening move in a shadow conflict between superpowers, using technology ripped from the ruins of a fallen Reich? This is not a story about meteors. This is a story about the spoils of war, the birth of an arms race in the upper atmosphere, and a cover-up that began before the ashes of World War II had cooled. This is the unfiltered truth of the ghost rockets over Scandinavia. The official narrative is a study in dismissive confusion. Starting in 1946, over 2,000 reports flood in from Sweden, Finland, and Norway. Experienced military observers, pilots, and civilians report rocket or missile-shaped objects streaking across the sky. They travel silently or with a faint hum, diving into lakes or vanishing before impact. The Swedish military launches its largest peacetime investigation, recovering nothing. The official conclusion? Natural phenomena, meteors, or optical illusions. Case closed. That was the public story. The convenient lie. A statement that insults the intelligence of every witness who saw these objects fly horizontally, turn, and behave with clear purpose. Meteors do not maneuver. It was designed to calm a nervous public and hide the terrifying reality that the borders of Europe, even in peace, were a testing ground. The unfiltered breakdown begins with the calendar. It is 1946. The war is over. But the real prize, the scientific minds and technology of Nazi Germany, is being fiercely divided between the victors, the United States and the Soviet Union, in a frantic race now called Operation Paperclip and its Soviet equivalent. Now here is the raw, uncut reality. The ghost rockets were not visitors. They were captured and repurposed Nazi technology. And Scandinavia was the perfect neutral proving ground. The most plausible explanation points to a clandestine campaign by a state actor, most likely the Soviet Union. The Soviets captured the Nazi V-2 rocket facility at Peenemünde and relocated the scientists and hardware to Russia. But testing new, unstable, long-range missile technology over motherland was a risk. So they launched them west. Sweden and Finland became a live-fire range. The ghosts were likely early Soviet iterations of the V-2 or winged cruise missiles, many of which would have crashed or been deliberately destroyed over remote, watery terrain to conceal their origin. The lack of wreckage. Soviet recovery teams operating covertly on neutral soil. The cover-up by Western intelligence agencies was not about the rockets themselves. It was about hiding vulnerabilities. To publicly admit these were Soviet tests would be to admit that the USSR could violate NATO-adjacent airspace with impunity, that they were ahead in the rocket race, and that there was no viable defense. It would have caused mass panic and revealed profound intelligence gaps at a critical geopolitical moment. Silence was the only strategic option. The evidence is in the geography and the technology. The flight paths pointed back toward the Soviet occupation zone in Germany. The descriptions match advanced German designs, like the V-3 high-pressure cannon or winged V-1 buzz bombs. But quieter and faster, logical post-war improvements. The diving into lakes behavior is consistent with a failed test flight, or a programmed impact to avoid leaving evidence on land. The official investigation was inconclusive, because the truth was too dangerous to admit. To reveal the Soviet tests would risk a direct confrontation nobody was ready for. Meteors was the safest answer. The ghost rockets were the opening gambit. They weren't extraterrestrial. They were the ghosts of the last war, haunting the prelude to the next one. They were the sound of a new arms race firing its first tentative shots over a nervous world. The files were closed. Not because the mystery was solved, but because the truth was known and too volatile to ever be released. The official story is a lie. The empty lakes are not empty. They are hiding the first secrets of the Cold War.